Another prominent Democrat announces his exit from Congress, unable to surmount a storm of sexual misconduct allegations against him. Senator Al Franken, taking the floor of his chamber earlier, exactly 3 weeks after the first accusation surfaced from radio host Leanne Tweeden. He began with this.
A couple months ago, I felt that we had entered an important moment in the history of this country. We were finally beginning to listen to women about the ways in which men's actions affect them. Then the conversation turned to me. Some of the allegations against me are simply not true. Others I remember very differently. I know there's been a very different picture of me painted over the last few weeks, but I know who I really am.
Although Franken disputes most of the allegations, he ultimately caved to pressure to step down.
In the coming weeks, I will be resigning as a member of the United States Senate. This decision is not about me. It's about the people of Minnesota. This has been a tough few weeks for me, but I am a very, very lucky man. I have a beautiful, healthy family that I love and that loves me very much. I'm going to be just fine.
You know what I didn't hear him say, Dana? I'm sorry.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, resigning this way means never having to say you're sorry. But I actually think that he doesn't truly believe he did anything wrong.
He doesn't.
And also, he's watched other people deny allegations and be just fine. And I think he probably thought he could weather the storm. But there were additional anonymous accusers that were coming forward. And I think that basically the Democrats were saying, you are no longer welcome here, and you're going to be sitting alone in the Senate dining room, and no one's going to talk to you. You're dead to us. We're going to walk around. I am curious about the decision to resign in the coming weeks.
What do you think that's about?
I'm not sure. I heard a theory. It's not my theory. Can I say it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I told Greg in the green room, but this is not my theory.
That he's a space alien?
No.
He's a shape-shifting lizard?
Close.
All right.
You're closer. No, here was somebody's theory.
Okay.
That he said, I'm going to resign in the coming weeks because he's waiting to see what will happen in the Alabama special. And that if Roy Moore does win and is going to be seated, then he could reverse his decision and not resign. That's just a theory.
I actually kind of agree with the theory, Gutfeld. I think he's leaving a crack in the door this big because he wants to see how this plays out, because you know from the beginning of this guy did not want to lose his seat.
Yeah, well, my mom always said, you grab a seat, you lose a seat. Look,
She was wise.
My favorite part of his speech, by the way, I don't even think Franken believes Franken. Getting him out of the Senate will require dentistry. He said that he won that election by 312 votes when he beat Norm Coleman. He was talking about that. So imagine if all of these stories, which happened before he ran, had come out then, he would not be in the Senate. So the fact is, instead of being sad, he should be thanking his lucky stars that he got, 8 years in the Senate? He got 8 years in the Senate. He was not supposed to win. If those stories had come out, he would not be standing there. So he should have been thanking these women for not saying anything. Because, I mean, look, this is how long it lasts. And I love how, it goes. So now there's that other part where he goes after Trump and Moore, but he doesn't mention Bill Clinton or his enabler, Hillary. So I'm just wondering, is this a new party? Is this 20 years ago, this party ignored and played down Bill Clinton's sexual excesses, and they nominated a woman who shamed the victims.
Right.
So is this a new leaf for them? Are they changing their colors? I don't know.
Well, they're trying to turn over a new leaf.
And is it
that's the game that they're playing, because they're trying to create a contrast between the Democrats and the Republicans. That's why they're doing this. I
was just going to say that now that they've drawn this red line, will anybody be able to cross it? There are reports that there are up to 40 members of Congress who are looking at possible stories along. I don't know what they're going to say, but possible 40 people, that could be some Republicans, some Democrats. Will the Democrats hold that red line?
And it'll probably happen on a Friday. Greg mentioned something that the senator had said about Moore and Trump. Let's listen and have KG react.
Okay.
I, of all people, am aware that there is some irony in the fact that I am leaving while a man who has bragged on tape about his history of sexual assault sits in the Oval Office, and a man who has repeatedly preyed on young girls' campaigns for the Senate with the full support of his party.
The president addressed the comments back during the campaign. We feel strongly that the people of this country also addressed that when they elected Donald Trump to be president, and I've addressed it several times from here and don't have anything new to add.
So it looks like the White House is saying, Kimberly, let the voters decide.
Well, basically, that was the message from Sarah Sanders saying, look, you know, this was something that was vetted, that was brought out during the campaign, that the people of the United States had the opportunity to think about it, evaluate it, determine the strength of it and how it should play an impact on their decision of who to choose for commander-in-chief. So they made the decision. So she's saying, there you go. There was nothing hidden. It's not like it came out after he became president of the United States. And quite frankly, Al Franken is lucky. Because, as Greg said, this could have come out earlier. He got to be, you know, in government and work for the people and have this position for quite a long period of time before this information even came out. And I don't know why he's taking cheap shots at the president. I would have been more impressed if he said sorry for his conduct and actions instead of trying to flip the script and point the finger at someone else, instead of looking into his own conscience and behavior and making this a more of a teachable moment of ownership, not only for himself, but his family, but for other members of Congress as well.
Yeah, respond to that one. What do you think? I mean, he really whiffed when it came to a nice, clean, classy resignation.
Oh, no, I thought he was extremely classy. And
he did say he doesn't even believe the women.
Let me finish.
I will.
So he said it's the worst day of his life. And I don't think you're a human being unless you understand that that man was at the pinnacle of success in terms of his political life. He said he came to politics late in life, but he worked very hard, and he worked in the tradition of, you may not know this name, but Paul Wellstone, who was a terrific senator from Minnesota, very much a progressive, you know, kind of, you know, farm labor Democrat type of persona that fits into Minnesota. And Al Franken had to strive to get beyond the image that he was just a comic and to be dismissed as a political neophyte. And he did so, and he is a very popular senator, both in Minnesota and nationally, so much so that people were talking about Al Franken running for president. So now you come to a day when all of this goes to tatters, and his allies, I mean, people like Kirsten Gillibrand, Patty Murray, are leading the fight to toss him overboard. I don't see how you can say that this wasn't a bitter and sad day. He calls it the worst day of his life. But let me go on and say...
Worst things have happened on this day.
No, well, I think for him, I'm just saying, for him, I think it's pretty sad. And I feel for him. I'm so sorry that this has happened. But I will say this, that I find myself in an odd situation where I agree with people like Laura Ingraham and Sean Hannity. They, too, think that this is Democrats turning on one of their own and throwing him overboard for political purposes, that they will then be better positioned in terms of confronting charges against Roy Moore, especially if he's elected and there's attempts to have him thrown out, as well as to continue the challenge against President Trump and the charges that he has standing to this day against him in terms of women who say that he acted in a vulgar manner with them.
Can I respond to Juan? Because I agree. I do think this is a strategic move on their part. What they're trying to do, I keep hearing the phrase partisan divide over sexual harassment. So by doing this, they're basically saying we're not the Republicans. So I think both sides can be right. I feel bad for Al Franken, but I also feel that he is lying because I know for a fact he's lying because I've talked to them.
No, but that's not the point. The point is, what is he lying about, Greg? So is he lying about
sticking the tongue down women's throats?
No, I don't. Look, he said that some woman said that he tried to wet kiss her, but that's one. Generally, what we're talking about is
more than one.
Is groping, right? While pictures are being taken. I think that's a whole lot different than what we're talking about with Roy Moore or even President Trump.
Okay.
But I just think at this moment, something is going on in the country, man.
I agree, and also, he said his other strong defense was. What he did is what you're saying is nothing as serious as allegations directed at other people. I actually agree. We have an indiscriminate leveling of accusations.
It's unbelievable.
All accusations are equal, and we're going to have to deal with that at some point, rather than letting the court of public opinion and then media indiscriminately decide that all of these things are equal. I think that what he did before he became a senator was his flaw. I mean, he thought that this was funny, and and when it all came out, it should have come out before.
Well, but the thing is, it didn't happen while he was a senator, which is something we're talking about, right? With many of these other people. That's what even the allegations are prior to his tenure as a senator. But what strikes me time and again is, right now, we're in the country, and I appreciate the fact that you spoke to me honestly, because I think there's so much politics at play in this. So on one level, we're talking about we need to deal with the issue of sexual harassment and intimidation of women and women being silenced and afraid to speak. But on another level, we're talking politics here. We're just talking about Al Franken, Roy Moore, John Conyers, and it's going to go on and on because both sides see some advantage in this.